Here we are live on our inaugural podcast, The Side Hustle for Your Side Hustle, with special guest Quinton Carlin. We gave you a little bit of an intro there earlier, Quinton, some of your accolades. But the way I like to run these podcasts, even though this is our first one, we've done hundreds of webinars and you have your own podcast, so we'll talk about that later. Let's just have a little bit of background on Quinton Carlin, where you're from, what you did in high school, some of the big accolades in sports.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me here. Excited to be guest number one and looking forward to the conversation here today with you, Rob. Where am I from? Born in Alberta, Edmonton, played basketball at Ross Shepherd, that at the time was kind of like the powerhouse in the Western provinces, and went to the provincials and, had a great career there. That also led me to
Because everybody watching the episode today knows where Ross Shepherd is, right?
Well, I mean, some of my buddies from back home might be. That school is a great feeder school into a lot of the universities and colleges and stuff. So I got recruited to go to University of Winnipeg, where I played there. And yeah, it was great, man. I think there's a big correlation between like people that kind of excel in athletics and also that excel in business, because it's all about discipline, putting in the work to get results, working with others, having goals, and just kind of working your ass off. So
just a point on that, I have my own sports background, but I think the same applies to the arts. People that have some type of discipline, because not everybody's athletic like you are, but some people are focused on music and you're working with a coach, and that'll come up later in the conversation here.
Yeah, well, I don't want to give my athletic ability too much credit. I am 6'7", so that helped quite a bit with basketball. And it's cool because now my son, he's about 6'5", 6'6", and he's playing college basketball too down in California. So yeah, I played in university. I was going into teaching, and then I kind of went to a different direction into counseling and mediation, kind of like pre-law. And then I actually found this whole online business world when I was going towards my second degree. And I was like, hey, there's a whole world out here that really isn't taught in traditional school. So went through the whole online learning of different kind of entrepreneurial ventures and stuff like that. But yeah, basketball was my first love, and business became my new passion since I'm too old to play anymore. So
well, we played a game of tennis there, I think, at the Getaway last year, and we were both struggling to catch those chases.
Yeah. Well, one thing I'll kind of lead to, I was in Asia for about 10 years, and I ended up playing professionally briefly in the Philippines, an island called Siargao. So I played there, and those guys were a lot smaller, but a lot faster than me. And that's kind of when I realized, my time was up. But it was a good experience playing over there too.
Excellent. So where did you catch the bug? Like, there must have been something. Everybody kind of has a tipping point with their job. And I know you were teaching in Asia while you were over there that you got the bug on the self-employed side, or earlier?
No, man. It was when my life was unacceptable, kind of rock bottom, January 1st. I'll never forget it. New Year's Day, 2007. I was just looking around. I'm like, I got to make some changes. And I did. And it was just really one thing after another. I saw a movie. It's a book as well called The Secret, The Law of Attraction. That just totally blew my mind, that wherever we're at in life is because of our thinking and our kind of mindset that got us there. And then right after I watched that movie, there's a little Google ad. I'll never forget. It says, work with The Secret, make 6 figures, work from anywhere off your laptop. I clicked it, had a call with someone, was on a webinar. And then from like the 1st to like the 7th, I didn't sleep. My mind was blown from like this whole e-commerce, online marketing world. And I just jumped right in. Everyone thought I was crazy. And this is 2007, before it's like cool. Now everyone kind of has a side hustle. But back then, people were like, what are you even talking about? So yeah, it was the beginning. And here in Vancouver, there's a group called the Internet Masterminds that actually started with me and a couple buddies back in 2007 here in Vancouver. Now it's been blown up into this big thing. But yeah, we kind of spearheaded that back in the day.
Yeah, it was a whole revolution that happened in, the early 2000s. And then, like you said, 2009, and it just evolves from there. So when was your last job, your last paycheck from an actual job?
Yeah. So I did that online business for 3 years, 2007 to 2010. And then the business I was building, the whole kind of product offer shifted, the whole compensation model shifted. And then overnight, my business was just kind of gone. So that was kind of a big surprise for me, because I thought I'd be doing that for a long time. And then I had an invitation to go help launch a school an international school in Korea. And it was supposed to be a 6-month contract and offer. 6 months turned into 10 years. I was in Asia for about a decade because everything, one door just kept on opening after the other. I loved the lifestyle and the culture there with everything that was going on. And yeah, I got offered as a position as a university professor at one of the top colleges in Korea. And it was basically like being semi-retired. Couldn't really call it a job because it was only about 14 hours a week, but they took care of everything, like my visa, my apartment right on the beach, 4 months paid vacation, 2 months in the summer, 2 months in the winter. So it was really a great experience. That was my last paycheck. And I did that for a number of years. And the only thing that made me leave that was the pandemic. So I came back to Canada and then kind of started over from there.
Is that when you started with Legendary? When you
Yeah.
came back?
Yeah. I started the day after I moved to Vancouver. Literally, like I live here. I'll give you a little glimpse. This is what Vancouver downtown looks like. I moved into this apartment, and then the day after, before I even had internet connection here, I started doing remote sales. So being kind of like an online consultant for a big Inc. 5000 company that I saw grow from having 4 or 5 sales advisors like myself to almost 200 now. So that's been an amazing ride, and I'm still riding it.
And talking about shifts, there's a major competitor to the group that you're working with now. We won't say names because everybody's going through struggles online, and I don't like, dumping on anyone, but that company has gone through a decline. Like you said, that first company you started with went through a decline, but the skills that you gain from doing your own side hustle. So you have to do everything yourself. You have to set up your internet connection. You have to do your sales, closing, notes, etc. Even though it's a side hustle, you're still working for someone. You're working for yourself. What's the biggest shift you found working at home by yourself, even with the great view, even if you didn't have the view? What's the biggest change going from working, for example, as a teacher in front of classroom or any other job, going to self-employed? Some of the struggle.
Discipline. And David Sharp, who runs the company, great guy, incredible entrepreneur, he said fall in love with the boredom. There's a basketball player, Kawhi Leonard. He's got a thing that the bored man gets paid. He rebounds a lot to his leg, but the guy that just shows up and keeps doing the job, that's consistent. So many people are up and down, up and down. He's really like, Dave is just like such a great trainer because he's like, look at, show up, do the work, you're going to get the result. The thing is, when people are working from home, I don't know if I should say this or not, but there's a study that just came out. I saw it yesterday on Valuetainment, our buddy Patrick Bet-David there. He said that there's a stat that came out that like 80% of people that work from home are like having sex during the day, like with their partners. So like they're not working, people that are working from home, they're messing around. And that's why a lot of people's businesses just kind of eventually crumble because they're not consistent doing the thing.
I'm a proud member of that 20%.
Well, there you go. There you go. But yeah, so like I think a lot of people just are used to getting a salary, but I think a lot of companies now are going to more results-based compensation, like pay producers, commissions instead of a base. So,
and there's no limit to what you're doing, because our goal for this podcast is to bring on affiliate marketers, social media marketers, agency owners, people doing a side hustle. It can be any type of side hustle. So if you're watching this inaugural, episode, we're looking for people to come on to talk about how they got there, to inspire others. Maybe you're looking for members on your team. Is that something that happens at Legendary? Is there any hierarchy model in Legendary, or it's just what you produce? And do you have an affiliate code?
Yeah, it's just what we produce. It's a great business. I've probably had in the last 3.5 years I've been doing this. I mean, work with over 100 members a month on my calendar is what I do. So a lot of calls, a lot of members.
It's 3,600 people. I just did the quick math. Three years, 100 a month is 36 months. So it's 36 people that you've interacted with.
And that's one call. I have 3 calls for each member. So that's about 10,000, over 10,000 calls I've had with different.
So you mentioned the movie you watched, and then there was a link at the bottom for those watching that are in the industry, know what it's about. But affiliate marketing is all about referrals. And, I always make the analogy, the last time you went to a great movie and you told somebody about it, did Landmark or Cineplex send you a gift card? No. So it's about the referral. And you talked about the movie with the link, but I'm going to go now to one of the questions we plan on asking every guest here is, 2 business books that you've read or you can refer people to, and maybe a couple things from either of those 2 books that really inspired you.
Yeah. Well, I got to go with the movie and the documentary book called The Secret, all about the law of attraction, because it doesn't matter what business you're in or what opportunity you have. If your mindset's not right, you're going to find a way to kind of mess it up. Right. So just having that proper expectation of what you want, a clear vision, goals, all that stuff, The Secret, Bob Proctor actually was one of the events founders of that company I was working with in 2008 to 2010. So he would come out to our events. He passed away recently, but I would say Bob Proctor. And the other book that's a kind of a classic, the main kind of Bible of entrepreneurship is Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. It's something that a lot of people have heard about. Not everyone's read, but should read if you wanted to go from employee to entrepreneur. So those two books are kind of like the two staples, I would say. Since then, I've read, yeah, just countless amounts. I'm always listening to podcasts, audiobooks, reading some kind of book.
And Robert Kiyosaki, who developed the 4 quadrants, right? Moving from employee to business owner, because even self-employed, you have a boss, that's yourself. You got to make yourself get up every morning. But the true passive income, something you can aspire to.
Well, I got to give you a shout out as well, Rob, and your team, because when I was in the business here and kind of making some more money than I have before, is like, okay, now what do I do with it? And then you really helped me structure it for the best tax efficient ways to reduce them, and then also invest that money. And, my first year was fantastic, so I learned a lot and even made myself want to go out and get licensed to help other people do that. So yeah, it's been a great.
That's why you're the first guest on. We're going in order of height, I guess.
Yeah, there we go. It's all downhill from there, then.
Neil will be next, and then we'll get Jesse on. So that just to tip you off, our next episode is going to be with Nee Norte Engman, who helped us develop our marketing funnels for our company, Mr. Taxes. You can see the logo up there, but we have an insurance and investment brokers. But we got inspired by a group that we were working with, and that's the Kangen Water Filter group, and Agic, the company. And was a member from there who was doing marketing funnels, who helped us set up. And he said, I asked them how they're making so much money. So how are you guys? These guys are in their early 30s. One of them now just hit over 2 million, and 2 that we work with are over 1 million. And I said, how are you guys doing? They said, funnels, dude.
Yeah.
I'm like, funnel, where like a kitchen funnel? Like, and he's like, no, you don't know what a funnel is? I actually didn't know.
Well, if people want to learn more about that, that's exactly what we teach at Legendary. So I'll have my link below. You can go through our 15-day challenge and book a call with one of our advisors, maybe myself, and learn about that stuff, because it makes a huge difference, right? There's a lot of old school.
You stole my thunder, man. The link is below. The link will be below.
Yeah.
So, Quinton, the company that Quinton is working for, teaches this. We actually signed up for the course. We went through the course, and it's paid dividends for us. It's just evolved. First learning what a marketing funnel was, but then I think once you have the basic, I truly believe the Legendary program, Legendary Marketer, is a course that will help you either fire your boss or make that transition to self-employment, because it teaches you all the components, all the separate components. There's a social media component, there's a funnel component, how to set up the landing pages. It's all in there. And the course keeps evolving. Like every time I check in again, there's something updated, and there's weekly webinars. It's real valuable course. I'm not just saying that because you're my buddy, but we actually paid for the course. We paid full pop for it.
Yeah. And the thing is too, is like, when people look at going to college, they have no problem going $50,000, maybe $100,000 in debt. I can't tell you how many people I've talked to that are in their 40s, 50s that are still paying their student loans, and they're not even working in the industry that they studied. And they have no problem. They don't think twice about putting that kind of money down for a traditional degree. But when it comes to paying for something online, they're like, well, wait a minute, I don't know about this, which is so surprising, because you can get a way faster result and learn things that aren't even taught in colleges. They don't talk about TikTok marketing or funnels in college or school, but that's what is moving business forward right now. So yeah, we're ahead of the curve. We just got rated with Inc. 5000 as the top privately held, or one of the top privately held online learning companies. So yeah, there's a big shift in the marketplace right now.
Yeah, we just said it is Christmas time. We'll give away the time here, but we went to an event the other night, and the big earner in our company, 4.1 million in commission. We won't say a name on air, but 4.1 million. And here's the thing, that is doing life insurance sales. And he did that. He took a 16-hour course, don't need high school. I don't have my high school. I own the company, and did honestly, a 16-hour course to get your insurance license. You can get your mortgage license. You can get your investment broker's license. If you're struggling in school, don't despair. Those that are already watching this because you have a side hustle or you're affiliate marketer, you already know the gig. But those who are struggling, don't despair. I have 4 kids. 2 of them went through school, 2 didn't. 2 didn't go through. One left high school at 16 because he was inspired by Elon Musk, and I supported him. So, reach out to somebody like Quinton. His link will be below here on all of the posts, but reach out to somebody, ask them about what it's like, before you make that decision to quit. I'm not saying go out and quit school. Talk to your parents, talk to your peers. Don't just listen to your friends, and don't just listen to Elon Musk.
Yeah, well, if I were to listen to my parents, I probably wouldn't be doing this because they thought I was crazy. Because back in 2007, we didn't have online courses or a couple hundred or a couple $1,000s. I had to put in I went about 30 grand in debt to do all that. So, and not at a good time in my life either, mind you. I was just going through a lot and didn't really have a lot. So I went in a big hole, but I realized the only way to make some changes was to learn new skills and get ahead of the curve. So, but it also makes you work your ass off to get that money back. So when people try and start a business for a couple bucks, a couple $100 even, they don't really have a lot invested to get that ROI. So when people buy franchises, for example, they're not going to walk away from that because they had a couple bad days. They're going to see it through, where a lot of people for the side hustle, they're like, oh, this doesn't work because I'm not really invested in it. So they just walk away. So that's another thing, that if you want to commit to something, just go all in, and it's going to take resources. The other thing I would say too, for people that are self-employed, is to make sure that you have a retirement plan or money put away invested, because a lot of people that don't have pensions will be very surprised when they're getting up in their years and realize, like, hey, I don't have anything to support myself, because that's comes with this gig as well. So get with someone like Rob to put that retirement plan together, especially if you are self-employed.
And it's getting to that point as well, having enough money to put aside, because we work with a lot of people who are, because we focus on the self-employed and affiliate marketing industry, social media industry. A lot of people make this money. We had a guy made 180 grand last year, and he thought that whole 180 grand was his. He forgot about the government, and now he's got a tax bill, and we're helping him put aside a little bit to put in the tax bill. But if you're in Canada or you're watching from the US, we are predominantly a Canadian tax company, but you can put money into a tax-free savings account. And we suggest, if you're self-employed, about 10% of that, just put it away in a tax-free savings. At the end of the year, at least you have money to pay your tax bill. And then a lot of people get frustrated when they do make the jump to self-employment, because they get this tax bill and they haven't prepared for it. They haven't worked on the business side of their business. There's a great book that I'm going to let the cat out of the bag and tell you about my favorite book. And that is, I got to take a look here. No, I'll save it till later. You gotta stay till the end of the episode. No, it's the E-Myth by Michael Gerber. So it won't make people wait. But the E-Myth talks about 2 sides to a business. It was a lady who baked pies, and she was great at baking pies. She started her own business, but she didn't know how to sign a lease. And they opened a website apparently, and they had thousands of orders. They were from all over the US, didn't know how to ship pies across the US. So, careful what you wish for. But I believe that everybody has it in them to have a side hustle. And our side hustle for the side hustle is our affiliate code. So if you're an affiliate marketer and you're looking for people on your team, and you have a downline, if it's a network marketing company, and you have a downline and you're looking to give them tax advice, and you don't want them to fall out of the business because they get that big bill at the end of the year and then they're frustrated, that's something that we help with.
Yeah, man, I think that's brilliant, because everyone needs to pay taxes, and for producers that want to keep their money and pay as little as possible, but also help others that get compensated from you for those referrals. And I think that what you put together with your affiliate program has been fantastic. And yeah, I'd really encourage people to learn about because there's a big difference. You can go to H&R Block, or you can file your taxes yourself, but there's a big difference between filing taxes and actually tax planning and strategizing to next year, pay the least as possible and max out your investments and things like that. So it's definitely worth it to work with someone that knows the planning side instead of just like the basic filing stuff.
Yeah, a lot of people try and fix their own car, and that's dangerous. Yeah. I worked with a guy way back when I was in the trades. I'll give him a shout out, Bill Geertz in Ottawa, Geertz Roofing and Construction. And he had a piece of sheet metal slide. He was going up the ladder, cut his thigh open. He put an 8-inch gash in his thigh. And he went to the truck and sewed it up himself instead of going to the hospital. Like, man, you got to go to the hospital. He's like, no, I can sew it up. He had some liquor in the truck, and he sewed it up himself. And if he's watching this, he'll probably cringe. We heard him screaming in the truck, and he comes back out and it's sewn up and it's taped up with duct tape. And 3 days later, it was infected and he was back in the hospital. So, don't do your own tax. Don't fix your own truck. Go to the professionals. If you're looking for social media marketing expertise, the Legendary Marketer course, like Quinton said on the podcast here, it'll be in the links below. If you're watching the YouTube version, it'll be in the links below. But reach out, at least check it out. The first 3 days, I think, are free. You can go in and take a test drive for $7.
Yeah. It's all free. 15 days free, $7 for the 15 days. Comes with a number of calls, get a business plan done and learn some new advanced, sales and marketing skills. So I think coming 2024 here now, a lot of businesses are feeling the crunch right now. I talk with a lot of people that are really getting downsized, layoffs, things like that. So, it's more risky not to have something to fall back on a plan B, because look at what happened with me. I thought I'd have that great career at the college for a long time. Pandemic comes, move back to Canada, restart my life here. But what's interesting is things have turned out better than I could have ever imagined. Like I really feel incredibly blessed and grateful for the doors that have opened since I've been back here. Relationships with yourself and just everything I've learned, and just I couldn't have asked for more. And now I got closer to my dad and stuff, and my mom, my family. So it's been really a blessing in disguise for sure, and really kind of thrived during it all too. So just very grateful for how things turned out, because I was very, as everyone was, concerned about what was going to happen.
And some of the accolades now, I see them hanging up on the wall behind you, the big plaques. So
yeah,
give us some insight into what those are all about.
Yeah. So as I said, Dave, the owner, is a great guy, very generous. When you hit different commission milestones, you get accolades. The big one here was the diamond Rolex. So that was pretty cool. Never thought I'd ever have one of these. And then I'm coming up to 2 million here shortly. So there's another little nice surprise that comes with that. So
the big plaque.
Yeah. So the two right there. There's actually another one at my dad's place, because I don't really have room for them all anymore. So outsourcing them a little bit. But yeah, it's been cool. Won a couple of the different sales contests that we do. And the way I look at sales is just like, hey, just connecting and being cool with people, not being a salesperson, basically, just serving. Hey, how can we help? Can we even help? There might not be a need for what we do for most people. So yeah, it's just kind of seeing.
So sales tips, talking about sales, there's going to be quite a few people watching this that are doing online sales or closers. Let's talk about maybe a course or software that you could, suggest to people, maybe your top software, top course that you've taken so people can kind of footsteps.
So yeah, there's a guy, a lot of people will probably know him, but I knew him back in 2008 probably 2008 is when we first connected. His name is Jeremy Miner. So I know you know him, but he came into this company I was selling for back then, and he was just like, everyone was like, who is this guy doing sometimes 50 grand a week commissions, a couple $100,000 a month? Came in, won all the sales awards, all the sales contests that company had. And then now, he has his own sales training company called Seventh Level. So, I mean, he's got a very different approach to sales, not where it is sales, it's more about dialogue and just kind of naturally conversating with people. So that's always been more my style, just being low key, relaxed, not super hypey or anything like that, or aggressive at all. Not my style, and that usually turns people away and causes a lot of resistance. So just ways to make people feel at ease and comfortable.
There's hard closers, soft closers. One of my favorite sales techniques that I actually learned from you is the calculator close. Maybe you could give us some insight into that and give us a little sample here while we're getting close to wrapping up.
Yeah.
Just your favorite, my favorite closing technique. One of them now is the calculator close. So maybe you could share that with us.
Yeah. So what I do here, let me just bring this up for you. When I'm talking with someone about their goals, right? So Rob, what would you really like to be making with your business here? Let's say in the next 12 months or so. What would be your target?
Be 1.2 million, 100 grand a month. Let's
wow. Okay. So 1.2. And I guess how close or how far are you from that target currently?
Probably 20% off.
Okay. So that's costing you, let's say 20, that's costing you probably about, 24 grand or so.
20 grand.
So,
yeah.
So 20 grand a month. So that's about
24 grand a year. If we're doing them, it's grade 3 math.
Yeah. So I'm just going to bring that would actually be 24. Yeah. So that's what it's kind of currently costing you in just not having the skills and the knowledge to get to that level. So I guess my question is how much longer do you want to be losing that money that other people that have those skills are making?
Yeah, we got some competitors that are stealing clients from us left and right. You're absolutely right. That's what I love so much about the close, because it throws it right in your face and numbers do not lie. I
Yeah.
love that. And for those on the podcast, you can't see, but he held the calculator up to the screen. You can watch it on the YouTube version, but it's very powerful and it's simple. You just ask them, how much are you losing and how much longer are you willing to lose that kind of money? And then if it's 24,000, you can use that dollar mark to tie it back to your product or service
Yeah. Yeah.
offer. Correct.
Yeah, exactly. Because people are more motivated by pain than pleasure, right? They'll run faster away from like a lion chasing them than they'll run towards playing basketball or something like that, right? So people are motivated by pain more than pleasure.
Yeah, I like that. People will run faster from a lion.
Yeah,
Definitely.
yeah, yeah. So that's a little tip for folks. But yeah, I mean, there's so many things out there, and I really do believe that learning finance, like you could learn marketing and sales, but if you don't know what to do with the money that you are making, it's going to end up being lost in paying more taxes or bad investments or just not being prepared properly. So yeah, I really can't stress. Like I took all those courses for my own personal knowledge to like figure out what I should do with it. And then obviously with your guidance, it's just been a powerful combination.
Yeah, those who make money, you got to learn how to keep it and how not to give it to the government or lose it to fraudsters or scams, etc., and have enough to cover your taxes. We're all about paying the least amount of tax possible, but we believe we need fire departments and hospitals, roads, streetlights, etc., but we don't need another bird sanctuary in the Arctic, and we don't need to be funding wars in other countries for countries that we don't even deal with
Yeah.
economically.
Yeah.
So that's a whole other podcast.
Yeah. Yeah. Or funding Trudeau's escapades around the world there. So
Yeah, let's just wrap it up with that. We need say no more. Reach out to Quinton if you want to dive deeper into that conversation. He'd be happy to entertain you. And I'm sure he'd be happy to entertain you on bringing you up to speed on what he does at Legendary and the course and more about the course. He has a link. Again, it'll be in the podcast notes below on YouTube there. We'll get it up on the screen. We'll get those two books up on the screen and a link for the movie as well, Quinton, and a link for our book, The E-Myth, or one of my favorite books. We'll get those in the links below. Any closing notes, anything you can use or say to inspire those who are looking to make the transition or to get to the next level in their business?
Well, look, I'm someone that has lived a pretty wild life as far as bucket lists go. Like, I'm just do it, Like, what are you going to regret more when you're older? The fact that you tried something new or did something different. And what's the worst case scenario? It doesn't go well. Oh, well, you're back where you were in the first
The fact
place.
that you didn't. Yeah, regret.
Exactly. But what happens when you're older and the next 30, 40 years have gone by and nothing changes? I'll wrap it up with this. This is a powerful quote, and I heard this a couple of times from a couple of different people. It says that the definition of hell is when you die, you see the person that you could have been if you just did what you needed to do. So like there's this life that you're living, but when you pass away, you're shown what you could have done if you reached your potential. And that's kind of tormenting for people because they just realize that they didn't even touch maybe, 50% of what they could have actually accomplished or done or experienced or really lived. People are in this kind of unconscious state, get up, go to work, do something with the kids, see your partner, go to bed. And that's that Groundhog Day that just goes on and on and on. And before you know it, life's over and it's too late. So, get in the game and get off the bench.
Yeah, the one I like is it takes just as much energy to dream big as it does to dream small, and it's your choice. So
Exactly.
similar quote. So go for it. Awesome,
Yeah.
Quinton. Hey, great first podcast inaugural. We've done hundreds of webinars, but now we're officially launching the Side Hustle for Your Side Hustle podcast for affiliate marketers, network marketers, people who are starting up a side business. If you know somebody who's doing $500,000 or more and has tips and tricks to share like Quinton has, then reach out. The links are below. Until then, we'll see you on the next podcast.
Yes.